Radio Sultanate of Oman, 90.4 FM, and the Sultan Qaboos Center for Islamic Culture presents 2012 Season 3 of Reaching Out Through Dialogue, presented by Hatem Al-Abdissalam, hosting a group of intellectuals and experts from different fields. Don't miss the interesting discussions on science, comparative religion, culture, education, human behavior, and social issues. Reaching out through dialogue. Only in the holy month of Ramadan.
The strength of every nation is gauged by the percentage of youth that make up the entire population.
Youth are the greatest resource of any society.
Youth are the greatest resource of any society because they will carry living history into the future. The population of Oman and of the greater Arab world has the greatest percentage of youth anywhere.
Do youth get the attention they need?
Do youth get the attention they need? Are their problems addressed properly? Are we taking them seriously? If we value our society, if we want a better future, don't we need to pay more attention to these problems?
So what
are the problems of youth today? What are the questions they might ask? And how could their ideas and suggestions assist the people with power to make big decisions?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah, the Master of the Day of Judgment, and peace and blessings be upon His Messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah, grant us knowledge, wisdom, and sincerity. Dear listeners, I'm your host, Hatem Al-Abdissalam. I salute you all with the salutation of the people of paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please join me in welcoming my distinguished guest, Mr. Ahmed bin Mubarak Al-Mata'ani, who is a director of Language Center at one of the local colleges in Muscat. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Ahmed. How are you today?
Wa alaikum salam. I'm doing great. How are you?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
Yeah.
Thank you for sparing your time. I know you have very busy schedule to join us on the show.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate that.
And
I'm so honored to be here.
We always enjoy your episodes. They are very fruitful, and mostly the youth, they're looking forward to hear from you every single season. So
I hope so.
Today's topic is challenges facing Muslim youth and ways to tackle them. If we can start off, Ahmed, why is this topic important? And maybe you can tell us a bit about it.
Well, if we try to look at the title, okay, we have keywords. We are talking about challenges, and then we're talking about youth, and the last word is ways to tackle them. You know, like these are the three key words that make the topic is very important because they are challenges, and we need to talk about them. And the group that deals with these challenges is the youth, which is a very important stage of anybody's life. And youth, as we said last time, are the leaders of tomorrow. So we want to make sure that we talk about their concerns and their problems, and we can also present some suggested solutions for them if we can. And the last one is what, as we said, you know, like the solutions for these problems, ways, okay, of handling these kind of problems. So I think, you know, it is a very important topic to be dealt with, and we're going to learn a lot about youth and how we can approach them the proper way.
We wonder, Ahmed, why you chose the word challenges instead of problems.
First of all, problems has a negative connotation, okay? As if we are saying, you guys having a problem. And, it's a psychological thing. If you start, with a negative word.
It sounds bad.
Exactly. You're just, building, this boundary even higher. Because they have already, have this boundary between you or between us and them. And imagine saying that, you have a problem. They will never accept, to listen to you. Okay? They will never acknowledge whatever you say. So you need to, first of all, tell them that, it's not a problem. It is a challenge. And I'm sure that they are up to the challenge. So we need to work on the psychology of the word. And we want them to understand that this is not a problem. It's, a stage, okay, that is full of confusing stages and so on. And then, if they follow certain tactics or ways, they will not have a problem, okay, or this challenge will be overcome.
Now, take us through some of these challenges, Ahmed, so that we have a better understanding. And then we can, take each one of them at a time and tackle these challenges.
I had to cheat, from my students, actually. So what I did, I went to my students in one of the classes, and I told them that, what are the challenges that you are facing, in your life? So, first of all, you can call it cheating, because, they did, the homework for me. And at the same time, it's a way where I can involve them in the whole process. Because, they will be the better people, to identify these challenges and these problems. And
because they are the ones concerned.
Yes. And another thing that, you don't want to talk about things which are not related to their lives. You want something which is authentic, something more practical, and they will learn from it.
Now, what was their response, Ahmed? I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, they are not used to this kind of dialogue, okay, because they never expected me to involve them in this, process. As, we talked before.
But you told them at the end that you're going to present this?
Yes, I had, to tell them, at the end, But, at the beginning, I wanted them to feel relaxed and comfortable, okay, to talk about it. And then I told them that, you guys are not going to be on the radio. Your ideas are going to be presented on the radio. Some of them got excited, okay? And some of them, they say, you know what? No, teacher. We don't want to talk about this. But I said, listen, this is a stage of your life where you have to present yourself to the world, okay? And I want to develop this, skill, okay, in you, where you talk about your issues, okay? And also you can argue with me. So gradually they started to accept the idea, okay? And here are some responses that I got from them. Like, they were talking about, lacking of support from family, okay, religious leaders, and community. I put them all together.
This is interesting.
Yeah, so they say, we are not having a full support, from our families, okay, because some people think that, as we said before, the main responsibility for parents is to provide money, which is not true. Yeah. So they said, we are not getting, full support from our families. And since, we're talking about religion, they say, we don't see the role of religious leaders in our life. Because, we have to go to certain places in order to get these kind of pieces of information, about our religion. And they said, sometimes we feel that, we don't have that full support from our community. Okay? We don't feel that, we are supported by the community. This is, one response. I put it all together because it talks about the support from people. Some of them, they are saying that, we suffer from a strict set of rules presented to us without any justifications. As if you are in a military, camp, okay? You have just to follow the rules.
Blindly.
Yes, without, any justification. So they say this is a very big challenge we are suffering from. They talked about, they have peers who are powerful, okay? They have this leading, personality, who also playing a role in the community they live in. Maybe let me elaborate on this, okay? They say like they have students, for example, or classmates who have this leading personality, but in a negative way. They have a great impact on people's life within the community they live in. And unfortunately, they get a lot of support from people around them. They are not guided. And actually, they are always on the picture. So this is a challenge for them because their voices are not heard because of these people who are dominating, the whole scene. So they say, our voices are always, kept aside. Nobody is listening to us because people think that, we don't have the charisma or the personality to talk about this. So we are just sort of, kept aside. Another thing that they were talking about is, when it comes to entertaining programs that we are having, they just feel these kind of programs are not good enough. Okay? They are even bored. Though they are keep watching it, but they know they are very boring. But they just, it's becoming a habit.
Maybe they're not creative, they're not as modern as required.
Yes, because they need to have that fun part or fun stage, of their lives, okay? And they lack it, Now, with this huge episodes and programs that we're having, okay, still people are bored. Imagine that, we are not doing anything when it comes to educational sessions. Like if we make a comparison between the two, we will see that we are doing nothing compared to what is, done in terms of entertainment. Yeah. So imagine that,
if the entertainment business is boring.
How about, educational sessions that are supposed to teach, values, morality, and so on? That means, they are zero compared to that one. So they are still boring. And they just feel that, they are also left out when it comes to building the society. And this is back to the idea of what? Underestimating. They are just, like they feel or they believe that, people don't believe in them. Okay? They don't have any outstanding ideas. Okay? You need to be so and so in order to say a word or to say or to present
to give an opinion or an idea.
Yes. They are left out. Okay? And also they have this confusing stage that they have this misconception that it's very hard to maintain, our values with the new trend of life. They think that, our values are sort of,
rigid.
Yes. And, out of date. Okay. And life is changing. So there is no connection between the two. So they have this misconception as a challenge. Because, it looks like, they don't understand that there is no contradiction between the values that we have and, having something new and modern, which not going to affect your life. So they're still not comprehending, that concept. And also, like they were talking about education. They feel that, the rhythm of our educational system is the same. There's no creativity involved, okay, in the process of learning.
So people are not excited to go to schools and colleges to learn.
Yes. And not only that, they felt that, there are a lot of parts left out. For example, sexual education is not, involved. Religious, ideas are not, involved, that much, to talk about, deeper issues, okay? And also they were talking about, social issues, also not, like we are not, they are not developed, to be ready for the society, the life which is waiting for them in the future. And the last thing is that, they believe that a lot of people who are in leading positions are not aware of their needs and realities. Okay? Because these people, they might think from their point of view. Okay? They don't know what is happening in their lives. So when they talk about something, these leaders, okay, they think that they are not related to the youth. So they are very boring, or they are not, useful. They are not beneficial. And then they just, don't listen to this one. So they should be a kind of...
a channel of connection
between the two, okay, by listening to them, by talking to them, and so on. So I just found all these, ideas very interesting, and I have learned a lot from them.
I think the best thing that you did, Ahmed, is you approached your students and you asked for their opinion. Because what I can see from the challenges that you presented, that we see things in a total different way. And it's good to put ourselves in their shoe and see how they think. And honestly, I have never thought of any one of these challenges that you mentioned today, because I might not be in their position. So let's go ahead and see. How can we discuss these challenges?
So I actually, as I told you, being in the field of education, requires me to involve them. Otherwise, what is the benefit of, having, education without giving chances to people to learn? They are the main pillar of this learning process.
So do you want us to tackle each one of them at a time, discuss about it, or how do you want us to go about?
I put them, a bit differently. So we're going to talk about some of them, here and there. So we'll talk about this, okay?
Now, why do you think that we have these challenges in the first place? Why do these challenges exist?
Well, there are some external, factors, things which are not from our society. And what I mean by that, there are some people in all cultures, they have, hidden agenda. And they want to propagate, for certain, negative ideas about, our religion or our culture and so on. And so this is what we call them external factors contributing to this kind of, problems that, our youth are facing, okay? Because they want to make sure that they feel that there's a problem with their religion, there's a problem with their identity, there's a problem with their culture, and so on. And actually, this is why, a lot of our youth are confused, because, there are a lot of new terms which have been introduced to the scene now, like Islamic fundamentalism and terrorism, and also, these kind of words which create that kind of misconception among the youth, okay, to make them, feel that there is a problem with their religion and teachings and so on. And also, people are doing this because, number one, they want to make everybody in the society to believe that, we need to adopt a new model. And in this case, what is the new model? The Western model. Because, if we don't, follow the model that we have, and we know that it is wrong, then we have to adopt, a new model. And this new model is the Western model. Okay? The Western model is not completely wrong, but there are a lot of ideas which do not match with our teachings. Okay? So we have to be careful. This is the first reason. The second reason is that, they want to make the people who are from the Western world, who are not aware of the real religion of Islam, to believe that there's a problem. And because of that, they have to fight. And they have to believe that, there's a problem with this, religion. And the third reason why they're doing that, or why we're having these external factors, is that they want to convince the world that Islam is a reactionary
Religion.
Something that, out of date or old-fashioned, way of thinking and so on. So they want people think, not only Muslims, but also the whole world to believe that, there's a problem with the religion of Islam. And of course, because we're living, the world of globalization, okay, where everything is becoming, like a small village, and people, interact a lot. We're having a lot of, ideas, with wrong ideas and hidden agenda to talk about, what we are having here. Then we are having also, one of the ideas, presented by my students, they were talking about family. Remember when we talked about the family? They were saying that family is contributing, to this, challenges that they are having nowadays, okay? Lack of confidence, lack of support, lack of, all these ideas mentioned before. And we talked before about, the types of parents who are either contributing,
positively or negatively.
Or negatively, exactly. We talked about the too strict, fathers or parents. We talked about those who are depressed. We talked about, those who are, they think that, life is always perfect, no mistakes, And also the overprotective, parents. They think that they expect, their children not to do anything. And because of that, in the future, they will suffer. They will suffer from this. The other reasons, why these people are having, all these challenges is the society, okay, being, a traditional society, which is full of ideas, which are very old and sometimes not helping, the children to meet the needs of nowadays life, make these children, confused. And, they will not be able to deal with the kind of life, they're having nowadays.
Yeah, but Ahmed, can I ask you, can you have both? The traditional life plus the modern life? Can you have both in parallel, respect your culture and your traditions, and at the same time you can be a modern person?
For sure.
And, you can change from time to time, depending on the situation.
For sure. You're absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with our traditional society. But what I'm saying is that there are certain negative ideas that, the society is propagating, or encouraging. So we need to get rid of these ideas and, get into the modern life or the modern thought.
Maybe if you give us some examples, it could be clear to our audience what exactly are we talking about.
For example, if we talk about anything, in terms of traditions, for example, like marriage, for example, in the past, it has a certain, patterns, in the past and so on. And there are certain, ideas which are, costly and, might, bring a lot of problems, to the both, to the husband and to the wife. So maybe we need to get rid of them. At the same talk, we don't, we are also having some modern, ways of getting married, which also costly. So we have to We have to compromise between the two.
Between the two.
Yes, in a way that, we should not have this, type of marriage, which is costly, and also we adopt another one, which is also costly. We have to find something like in between, in a way that we don't have a problem between the two. Yeah, this is one example that I can think of now. Another challenge that our youth is facing now is the spare time, if you want to call it. A lot of our youth are having a lot of free time, and they don't know how to utilize it effectively, because, as we said, parents are very busy. Okay, friends are impacting them. Society is helping them to adopt, this kind of, ideas which keep them, doing nothing beneficial for the society. And because of that, they get involved in things which are not, good. Okay?
Like drugs.
Like drugs, like crime, a lot of things, which are not welcomed and encouraged in our religion. Okay? So we need to find ways, to make them more productive, more practical, more giving to the society. They should be involved in a lot of activities other than just sitting at home, playing and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. these people should be involved in a lot of activities which could show their creativity, okay, to the society. Back to the idea of underestimation. We have this idea that, our students or our youth or our young people, okay, cannot do a lot of things, which is not true.
For example, like now you have, normally you have summer camps, okay, which are very, very beneficial. If they can have these camps throughout the year, okay, in a smaller scale, instead of having it in for a week, maybe for a week, once a month in a weekend. 2 days in a month is more than enough. And you keep them busy. They can learn new skills. They would be occupied, and they would benefit themselves and benefit the community as well. And they become productive citizens.
For sure. And this is back to the idea of creativity. You know, like if we have a creative planners, who are in charge of these kind of activities in general. As you said, we can have them throughout the year in very different ways and format. So the idea is to make our youth benefit from their time. And we have to create, a lot of chances for them to show their talents. I think we talked last time about the idea of these, programs used, like throughout the world, okay, for talents, for skills, and so on. We can also have such programs, okay, where we show the talents of our students in science or in their, like things that they're really good at, like maybe in art, maybe in science, in languages, name it, okay. We can do a lot of, activities which really show their talents, okay, instead of just wasting their times in very specific, programs that deal with certain talents, if you want to call it. So we need to work on that. Otherwise, these students will start to do a lot of, bad things, drugs, alcohol. They might, even get into activities which are not related to the teachings of our religion. I'll give you an example. Now, because the media is playing a role in presenting all these ideas to us, these people, they take a lot of role models around them. And because they don't know why they are doing, a lot of things in our culture, then they watch something, they learn something, and because of that, they adopt, a belief. And this is why, we have now, a lot of phenomenon here in the society related to sexuality, related to, like morality and so on, and
like emos.
Yeah, like emos, okay, like homosexuals, and, like things, related to, thugs. Like if you go, to Western cultures and you say, I'm a Muslim thug, they will laugh at you. Because they expect, like a Muslim to be a guy who is following, the religion and rules and decent and so on. But, now it's very common to find a Muslim thug. Even they identify themselves as what? Muslim thugs. Which does not work, in a lot of Western cultures. They don't see the connection between the two. Okay.
Even in the Muslim culture, you can't be a Muslim and a thug at the same time.
Yeah. But, it's becoming something cool, like you just, like go and try to fight with people, scare people, and people think it's cool, it's cool, to go and scare people around you, okay. There are a lot of issues also related or challenges related to ladies, okay, so that we don't forget ladies. Now, a lot of ladies are confused about the idea of what to be, okay? Because now we have all these, fashionable things around the world, okay? And they're lost, okay? They don't know what is, because, they don't have a strong foundation from the beginning, which is, coming from parents and school. They are lost, and they show, the wrong of them to the world, because they don't know. They don't have a clear identity which help them to understand what is happening and why they have to do this and why they don't have to do that and so on. So they are also lost. Now we're having also a lot of problems when it comes to social,
gatherings
and so on. Okay, like I was shocked, like to see, like some of the young, people to go and like sort of impose, okay, themselves, to the other, gender, with their, like bossy, personality. Like they go to them and they propose a lot of things, to them without taking permission, as if it's cool, to go and do that. And sometimes what's happening is that, they sort of get, sort of a signal of acceptance or approval from the other gender to do this and this and that. And they don't realize this till they have a lot of problems and they face a lot of problems. And so they are not ready for this kind of life. Parents, society should work harder in bringing, them the right way.
What I hear, Ahmed, that most of the blame is on the youth, on everything that happened and all the challenges. But as a community, as a society, I think we are to blame as well, because you have to provide solutions.
Yeah.
The problem is there. Okay, what is the community or what is the state doing about it? Okay, what solutions? Are there any discussions, dialogues to find out what are the best ways to tackle this? I'm sure many people know about these challenges, but are just sitting idle, not doing anything about it. And then when the youth go astray, and then we tend to blame them. That why did you go astray? While we are sitting idle, doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I think we should focus from a higher level on how to tackle these problems. What is our role as a society and as a community to tackle these problems?
Yeah. Now, this is a very interesting thing and a very important thing at the same time. This is why we call them challenges. We are not here to blame them. They are the victims. They might be the victims of our actions or lack of responsibility towards them. But this is why we didn't call them problems. We decided to call them what? Challenges. These are challenges, could be because of us or maybe because of them. Because this is a mutual responsibility.
Yeah.
We have to show them the way, and they have to also react positively to the recommendations, to the suggestions that we talked about. When we talk about the consequences of such challenges and such problems they might face, they have to practice what we call active listening. They need to be good listeners so that they can avoid any trouble in the future. So we are not here to blame anybody. We are here to present the cases, to present the challenges, so that people know it is not a joke. It's serious. And we have to take an action.
Okay.
And this is why we talked about the role of parents at home, the role of society in contributing to this, either negatively or positively. So we need also to acknowledge that. We need to inform everybody that this is a mutual responsibility. Everybody has to take part. Now, the idea is when we talked about the children or about youth, is also to teach them the sense of responsibility. We don't want them to say, oh, we are the victims of your whatever. No. We have to also involve them in the process to show them that you're also responsible. So they need to understand from now that this is not only a problem created by one person. This is a problem for everyone, and everybody has to contribute to get rid of this problem. That's the whole idea about the presenting or talking about the challenges of this youth. I just want to talk about the role of education and school, which is very important also in tackling these challenges, okay? Because, I come from an education background.
Okay.
And I see a lot of things, a lot of behaviors, in front of me. How people think, how people talk, how people deal with each other. I remember when I was in my first 2 years, I used to see people with different, personalities. Now I'm seeing different people. So different behaviors. Same problem, presented now differently. Okay, maybe it was there, but now it is presented in a different form. And unfortunately, it is presented in a very worse way than before. It used to be a problem. It's only a problem. Now it's becoming a bigger problem, and we have to contribute. And now, this is the thing. Without a collective effort from parents, from society, and from educators like us, and other means of communication, will not be able to tackle these problems.
This is the thing that, Ahmed, I wanted to tell you, is that one hand doesn't clap.
Yes.
It's a collective effort, as you said, that all of us have to work together to be able to tackle these issues.
Yes.
And alongside the youth, so we should not take them out of the process of finding solution, because they are the main part in the problem or in the challenge.
Yes.
Okay, so I think more dialogues should be established, more understanding, more educational sessions in forms of public speaking or media or any other means.
Yeah, like what we usually do in our college, for example, we have a lot of sessions related to how to behave, first of all, to be a very proper citizen, okay? Because this is representations, for the society. We have teachers who are coming from different cultures, from different countries, and they want to see our youth showing the good side of our culture. We have also a lot of psychological sessions, for our students, whether how to tackle their study properly or how to deal with the problems in general, challenges they're facing them. Still, it's not enough. But what I believe in is that if we continue doing this with the cooperation from the parents and the society, we're going to succeed in doing so. Now, we need to understand the importance of education in tackling these, challenges. Because our children spend between 30 to 40 hours in any institution, most of the time, between 30 to 40 hours a week, which is a lot. Because, they will come to college, spend some time, and then maybe they will go to their rooms, they'll go to their friends outside. And imagine that this institution does not take care of their problems. What's going to happen? They're going to spend more time having the same problems. Nobody's talking to them. So we are to be blamed because we see all these kind of behaviors. We didn't say anything. We did not provide any help. And the students will be victimized because they don't know. They don't see any help. They don't see anybody helping them around, and they will be the victims of not being aware of what is needed to be done.
The thing that irritates me the most is that some members of the society feel that this is something normal. It's part of growing up, and it's a process. They will overcome it the same way the previous generations have overcome these problems and issues. But what they fail to understand, that this is a different era.
Yes.
And that every generation comes with different challenges.
For sure. I mean, as I was comparing between, like when I was teaching, a long time ago and now, I'm seeing almost the same problems, but I see them in bigger forms. So you cannot say that they will just get it like this. No. Especially now with this huge information, like coming to our life. Some of the
information explosion.
Yes. Where people sometimes don't know what is right and what is wrong. They need to be guided. Now, it is not about how to develop, from one stage to another. It's about guiding them. Okay? Because these youth need to understand that they need also to show interest in tackling these problems. But we are just guiding them. And this is back to the idea how we can develop them from the beginning, from when they were kids till this stage. Because sometimes it might be too late to change a lot of their behaviors. And it will be very difficult, to change these kind of challenges and these kind of problems.
The other thing, Ahmed, is I feel that the institutions and the community and the society should approach the youth and find out what are the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for the youth to come forward to present their challenges.
Yeah.
Somehow the youth might not know that they are facing challenges, or they might be shy to reveal that they have challenges,
Yeah.
or they might be embarrassed of these challenges, or they might be scared. So the institutions, the society, the community, they should all work together to go to the field and find out.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we see something wrong and we keep quiet and we don't say anything about it and we don't raise awareness, it continues, and then it becomes a habit, it becomes something common, it becomes something usual, and then it becomes a trend.
Yes.
And when it becomes a trend, then it's too late to tackle this challenge or this problem. But if you start from the beginning, you tackle it, you find solution, you find alternatives, and then you have cured the problem from the beginning,
Yes.
which is much, much easier.
Yeah.
Don't wait until it becomes severe
Yeah.
and then start working on it.
For sure. You're absolutely correct. I was thinking about one thing where maybe we should introduce, to the public, to the parents. I think parents should be trained how to deal with these problems. There's something called, like in a lot of Western cultures, marriage license. You go through a lot of training before you get married.
Okay.
This training will involve a lot of things. How to take care of your family, how to take care of your kids, and so on. And I think maybe what we should do, we should integrate this concept and put a lot of values that our religion is teaching and make people aware of how to deal with different situations. Because, children, the first stage, they will be with their parents.
Yeah.
And if the parents are not ready to deal with their problems by not paying attention to them or ignoring them or feeling that this is, one person's responsibility, the mother has to take care of it or the father has to take care of it. No, there should be a kind of cooperation between the two, the father and the mother, to take care of what these are challenges. So I think,
the thing is, Ahmed, you've mentioned a great idea, and we should emphasize that such great ideas that we can bring from the West, why should not they be implemented in our community or society?
Yeah.
These are brilliant ideas that can help the next generation, that can help solve many of these challenges that we are discussing about. So why not implement them? Not everything that comes from the West we consider it to be negative. There are plenty and a lot of things that are positive that we can implement, and they are in line with our values, our religion, our tradition.
Yes.
So why not implement them?
Well, I don't know actually why, we don't have a lot of initiatives. I think this should be done through the top management, where there should be a lot of emphasis on having a lot of courses. And I think maybe like what we are having now, we are having all these medical checkups, before marriage and so on. Why don't we also introduce all these courses to be given to people with a reasonable price, so that people can afford, and then they will see, the value of it. Because as you said at the beginning, if we tackle them from the beginning, we are going to save a lot in the future. And we need to have parents who are ready to face all these challenges so that our children in the future cannot be victimized, or they will be the victims of something that they didn't have any reason to be criticized or blamed, in the future.
One more thing I wanted to add, Ahmed, is now I'm going to shift the table towards the youth themselves, and I want to throw the blame on them. Ahmed, for sure, the youth nowadays, they have all the means and the facilities to propagate their ideas. For sure, they are much, much smarter than our generation.
Yeah.
And they have the means and capabilities to deliver a message. So if they are feeling that they have these challenges, they should come forward. They should not keep quiet. They should seek solutions.
Yeah.
Because they're smart, they're intelligent, they have the means, they have the motive, they have the capabilities, they have the education to do it. So why just keep quiet? If they don't start helping themselves, who's going to help them? They should come forward and present it and speak about it. Create forums instead of discussing things which are less important in life. Discuss about issues which are concerning you and try and find solution. If you want to tackle the institution, you want to tell them about your problem, suggest to them solutions. Instead of just complaining about the problem, suggest solutions. Tell them, let us do this to tackle this challenge.
Okay.
And then have a debate, have a dialogue.
This is very interesting. The only challenge we are facing with this kind of trend or solution or suggestion is that, first of all, who said that they don't have? They do have all these forums and dialogue, communication skills that you were talking about. But the question is, the ideas are presented to them by either themselves or by other friends or other people around them are correct or not.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that if they don't have a strong foundation of their values and their, teachings, what's going to happen? They will come up with the ideas that they believe in. Based on what? No foundation.
Yeah, but Ahmed, and then if they come to have a dialogue with the society, with the community, with the people responsible for making decisions, then you can have a dialogue or a debate. And they can be directed towards the right path.
But this should be done at early stage. Because, if it is done, later on, what's going to happen? The possibility of changing their ideas might be a bit difficult. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. But imagine, if these people, they have foundations, from the beginning, and then, in between, through the stages of development, they might get, some wrong ideas from here and there, then you start this dialogue, this will be more effective. But if they don't have a strong foundation from the beginning, what's going to happen? They are going to just come up with ideas based on their ideas, which are most of the time out of their hands. They don't have strong foundations, and then we struggle. You talk to them, they don't listen to you because they just don't believe in what you say. But of course, this is back to the idea how we present our ideas. If we are very creative, we have interesting ways of presenting these ideas, then definitely we're going to have a lot of changes happening in the society.
Ahmed, having these challenges, what is the impact on our community?
Well, the first impact will be on the youth, And instead of having, productive, youth, we're going to have people who are lazy, They are not doing anything. Maybe they are depending. They don't have ambitions and goals in life. And then, they will be busy with things which are not important in life. Things which only for entertainment. And not only that, if we just look at this youth, they consist of different, components. Health components. They talk about social development, psychological development, educational development. So all these sectors or approaches or all these, components will be affected negatively. So we need to also not to think just, on them as, one piece. Maybe one component might affect, which might later on affect, the other components. We need to work as one group in order to have all these,
And these components will accumulate and develop a rebellious generation.
Yes.
And then when you have a rebellious generation, then they become out of control.
Yes.
And it's too late to do anything about it.
Yes. Because these are challenges that they are facing. They will have a lot of psychological problems. I'll give you an example. If they feel that, there's a barrier between them and the society, family, friends, institutions and so on, they will tend to isolate themselves from the society. And this might lead to a lot of psychological problems. Being lonely. Some of them might think of committing suicide. Some of them, they might have a lot of mental problems, and they might do anything. They might commit a crime, they might kill somebody, they might kill themselves. All these kind of things, might get them affected. So these are some of the impacts, okay? Social problems and challenges also they will have. They will try to isolate themselves from the other groups, okay? Because they always feel that, there is a difference between them and other people. And so they will not develop their social identity. And they will not be identified as part of this culture. In fact, they will look different. They will talk differently. Okay, they will mingle with people who could look like them because what they see now is different. And then, they will maybe get into the wrong group, which will make the situation even worse than before.
Ahmed, one of the challenges that you mentioned at the very beginning was lacking of support from parents, religious leaders, and Muslim community. Now, I think we've gone through most of them, but I want you to emphasize on religious leaders. What can be done and what seems to be the issue? Because they are part of the community and they play a role.
Yeah.
So what can we say about this challenge?
Religious leaders should be involved more in activities that deal with different mentalities. You should not expect these people to be angels. These people are facing challenges.
Yeah.
First of all, these youth, they need to feel that these people they're not enemies. Because, the tendency, of some religious figures, or people who are representing, I don't want to say, like leaders, but there's a tendency from some people who are representing religion to have a boundary from the beginning, because...
Between them and the youth.
So what do you expect from this youth? They will never talk to them, okay? This is one thing. Another thing is the way of representing ideas. Not everybody will be going to a mosque or to the masjid. Maybe because, they were not told, to go to the mosque. Or maybe they don't see the value of going to the mosque.
They don't see anything attractive.
Yes.
That they
just,
can
the normal,
from.
traditional way of lecturing. There's nothing, interesting, to attract them to come. While if we use all these, interesting or for the youth, entertaining and fun, creative ways, by religious leaders, then what's going to happen? Then they will start to see the value of these principles or these teachings. But we need to change the way of dealing with them. They are not the same. We need to go to their mentalities and understand how they think. Because there is always a possibility of it changing the way they think. And it is better to keep dealing with them, communicating with them. Don't be sarcastic, for example, if they do something, or they behave in a way that which doesn't look it's appealing or whatever, or it's not, according to the teaching. What we need to do...
So don't judge people.
Yes.
Give them an opportunity. Give them a chance.
Yes.
Listen to them.
Yes. And, as we said, make them a project for your life. Like one of your projects that you want to achieve. That I want to change this person mentality from being negative to become a very positive, good citizen.
The other thing is joining them in the activities,
yes.
Ahmed. Sometimes, let's say you have a football tournament or anything. I think religious figures in the community should be part of these activities and make the youth feel that they are part of them.
Yes. Why don't we, organize one that, follow the rules of our teaching? You understand? We can organize one if people think that, maybe it is not, like there are certain things that we have to take care of. Why don't we take the initiative of organizing one which, first of all, attract these people to come to the place, and also at the same time to follow these rules? Because the whole goal is what?
To get them together.
Exactly. And get them, make use of what? The sport, fun activities. So we need to see what they do and use it in a positive way, in a good way that matches what the teaching that we have in our religion. Otherwise, these people will not come. Okay? So we need to change the way of looking at things. Otherwise, these people will never, ever be open to you. I just wanted to conclude with saying that we need to have proper way of communication with these, youth. because they are the future. And if we don't provide a proper hand at the right time, then we both going to be the losers. Okay? We need to work on this by having a lot of creative ideas in different fields. I'm sure there is always a room for religion to adopt different ideas that we are having so that, match the teachings of our religion. We need to be creative. We need to bring a lot of interesting ideas that will make these people follow what we want them to follow and become very good citizenships and good Muslims. And, they present the culture in the proper way.
Mr. Ahmed Mubarak Al-Matani, thank you so much for this educational session. I hope our listeners have enjoyed, have benefited, and I hope your students will be happy listening to today's show. I also hope that you have tackled or we have discussed the solutions to maybe some of the challenges.
Yeah, I'll talk to them. I will ask them to listen to this, and then, if they feel that we have tackled all their problems, then I will tell you no. And then if not, then, we should have another session.
Okay, inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Dear listeners, I'm your host Hatem Al-Absalam, signing off for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You have been listening to Reaching Out Through Dialogue.